Well, happy Friday, allopathic sensitive souls. How are you? My name is Denise. I am your intuitive emotional healer. I am coming on live on Friday to talk about the card that we drew on Monday, which was the Bone Collector card. You are whole and have everything you need within. Now, I spoke about when you're wounded in your past as a child, sometimes you have to go back there and fix yourself and provide an adult to your younger self. Provide that buffer, provide somebody who stands up against the bullies or has the knowledge now to go back and tell you what to say when you were younger. And sometimes we can do that and it works great. Is it a one and done? It very rarely is, because remember, everything's a spiral and we keep circling back around and healing it at a newer level. That the bone collector us, holds the parts of us that we thought were lost. Now, this week I have been activated or triggered multiple times during the week. And I have found that through the course of me working on myself, I can now realize and talk about some of the stuff that I have gone through and how far I've come from that line of thinking to the current thinking. My niece is looking for an apartment, and we looked at one, and it was perfectly fine. Her gut was saying no. And she's waiting for me to yell and scream at her, to call her not intelligent because she's not jumping on that chance. But I'm not the one whose gut is screaming, no, there's something wrong. The apartment was perfectly fine. But to her, she has 3 young children. It's not quite right. Now, I grew up in fear base that you take what you get, you don't throw a fit. This is about all the better you're going to get, so you might as well jump on it. You just deal with whatever consequences come around. But at this stage of the game, I am her safety net. I never had that safety net when I was younger. So she has a safety net to fall back on to say, no, you've got some time. Figure out, find the right space for you and your kids. Now, 5 years ago, would I have been that way? No, I probably would have been, oh my God, I can't believe you didn't take that first apartment. Ah! But again, I'm not the one with the kids. And she knows her kids well enough to know the kinds of trouble that they would get into. Because the youngest, he is an explorer. He is a, I want to know how it works kind of thing, and would have been not in trouble, but would have gotten into situations where he shouldn't have been. Let me put it that way. And being autistic, he doesn't understand why he can't do what his brain is telling him needs to be done. Now, the eldest has a habit of going pop really loud and scaring the daylights out of you, but he can't help it. It builds up and builds up and builds up until it has to come out. It's like a yawn. You ever try to stop a yawn or stop a sneeze? It doesn't work very well. Your body has to do it, and that's the way his is. His brain is telling him he has to do this. It's an energy release. I told him he can come run around my house multiple times if that would help release some of the energy. I don't know that he thought that was funny. I thought it was a great idea. But again, she has to worry about what's it going to be like for the kids. And I said, I don't have kids. The potential hazards that she sees, I don't think is a big deal because, again, I don't have kids. But I cannot berate or condemn someone for their gut feeling. Because as we all know, our gut feelings are intuition. And if our intuition is telling us, something's just not quite right. It's good. It's good enough, but it's just not quite right. So, in going through the process with her, I'm discovering a lot about myself. I'm discovering that I'm healing parts of me that aren't any different than her. I'm just at a different stage. Her mother helped raise me because her mother is 10 years older than me. And her mother raised her pretty much the same way. So, learning and watching my action and reaction and not going the old fear-based way, but oh my gosh, we can stop and think about this, we can talk about this, we can have a conversation, and we're adults. We can do this. We have the right to change our mind. We have the right to say, that's not going to work for me, and be okay with it. So you circle back around, and what you thought was lost isn't lost. We just look at things from a different perspective as we grow, as we age, as we change in our own perspective and our own viewpoint. And when you go through trials and tribulations, especially at work, just the ridiculousness, it's unbelievable. But if I could pull myself up and out of the grind of the drama, a lot of it is fear based. We're afraid we're going to do something wrong. We're afraid we're going to get, and I always say yelled at. And my boss once said, I've never yelled at you. I said, no, but the tone of your voice and your actions feels like you're yelling at me. Well, I've never raised my voice. No, but the tone of your voice is like you're yelling at me. That's just how sensitive I am. I can't change my sensitivity level. It is that sensitive. And he finds it utterly ridiculous that I could be that sensitive, that I would think him talking stern to me is yelling at me. Well, it is to me. Somebody else will look at me and like, he's not yelling, he's just telling you exact. Okay, well, for him it works, not for me, because it's yelling at me, because I did something incorrectly. And then I have to give myself grace, because if I did something incorrectly, then somebody didn't teach me. And I know in my family, you weren't really taught. You were not shown how to do things. You were told, go do this, but no explanation. And then you would be yelled at or made fun of for not doing what you should have done. But there was no guidance and there was no teaching. There was no moments where anyone said, oh, this is how you need to do it. Here, let me show you, and then you do it. There was none of that. So I'm always anticipating and trying to be 3 steps ahead so I don't have those same feelings that I had when I was a kid. Is that good or bad? That's the way I operate. It's out of trauma that we do this. So learning that about yourself, learning that you can go back and revisit and recapture some of the things that you thought were lost. Now, when my niece and her 3 kids are moving in with me for a time frame until school is over with, and well, yes, I still have to be the adult and the other authority figure, I still try to take time to connect with the kids on a non-authority level, sit and play with them. A friend of mine always complains that her niece and her kids that live with her, well, she doesn't take time to sit down and play with the kids. I said, she's the mom. When the hell does a mom ever have time to sit down and play with the kids when you've got three little kids under the age of 5? She doesn't have time. She's trying to survive. She's trying to make sure they survive. All needs are met. All diapers are changed. All bellies are full. Everybody's alive, right? That's what moms do. Only in a Hallmark movie does the mom actually have the time and the energy to sit down and play with the kids. Oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Yeah, makes a difference. And like me, I don't have children, so I can't even imagine the amount of energy it is to take care of a child that is yours. I know what it is to watch them at night, babysit them, but I'm not the parent. That's a whole nother level that I don't have. And I'm okay with that. But knowing and learning this about me, and it is accepting that it is not a negative thing, I just bring a different perspective. So that's your bone collector for this week. How did you guys do? Did you learn that you are whole and have everything you need within? Did you go back and look at some of the stuff and realize you can not repeat the past, but you can change it? If you do what you did, you'll get what you got. And that's not what I want. I want things to change, especially for the kids. So hopefully you had a wonderful week. Happy, happy Friday. I can't believe it's almost the middle of April. I don't know where time has gone. Have a fantastic weekend. I will try my darndest to hop on Monday morning. With the kids here, you never know who's going to be up at the same time I'm up. So it may be a wah! You never know. But it could be fun and exciting. Have a fantastic weekend. I will hopefully see you bright and early Monday morning. Bye for now, everyone.